Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Confession Shack podcast. I'm your host, Debo, and I am joined today by the foul black smudge that is Hunter.
Thank you.
The demon gargoyle that is Tyler.
I own 5 children.
This is not. For clarification reasons, this is not true.
Okay. And the man that decided to join us for no reason. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I don't owe him money.
His name is Keegan,
Oh,
and he doesn't owe anyone any money.
Okay, cool. All right, so
Calm yourself, gentlemen.
to start off with this, we have to tell our history project. I probably shouldn't have sworn to start off the podcast.
Well, that's okay. He'll think it's part of our characters that we're playing. We're playing World War I characters, all right? We're not actually this horrible.
World
War II characters.
My name is German von Schwitzerland.
German von Schwitz. My name is German von Schwitz.
Okay. So,
Long
do
day.
you want to tell our things chronologically, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold up.
So, you're doing Pearl Harbor. So then, chronologically, Dunkirk is.
Dunkirk is first.
All right.
Okay,
Good
well,
luck.
I don't have my notes, so let me get started on Dunkirk. So, Dunkirk, I watched a lot of documentaries on this. I think I know quite a little bit about it by now. I wrote an entire 2 pages, obviously, because notes are very important. So, Dunkirk is the aftermath of the French and the British making an attempt against the German war machine. However, the French, British, and the Netherlands, I later found out, were forced slowly back because the German war machine, their tactic, the Blitzkrieg, was so advanced and so aggressive that they couldn't recuperate on anything. So any movements that they made were futile, and soon they were pushed all the way to the very border. But luckily, right when they were pushed to a small town with a beach, long coast called Dunkirk, the Germans stopped advancing with their infantry and only relied on their U-boats, submarines, and planes to attack the British from there on. So this gave the British the advantage to start an operation they called Operation Dynamo, which was to evacuate everyone on that beach over to the mainland of Britain. During this time, they did not have enough ships, so it was very crowded if you got on one of their Navy ships to go back home. And there was only 2, maybe 3 of them when it first started, so they were really struggling. However, Britain allowed private boats or people who owned fisher lines and rent boats. They could come in and they could pick people up off the beach. However, a lot of times they couldn't get too close to shore because it was very shallow. So the tides were, not very opportune for the boat. So a lot of times people would have to swim out to the boats. And there was tons of soldiers that could not swim, so they couldn't swim out to the boats. They had to wait for boats. So a lot of times they would be hiding from German patrols and trying to avoid being killed by the airstrikes that would go on around there while attempting to get onto a boat. So, that.
All right. So now we go on to Pearl Harbor because I have 1943. So
Perfect.
Perfect. So, Pearl Harbor. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So, the Americans, they did not want to join World War II at first. World War II was between France, Britain, Germany, Russia. They were all just fighting out. And, America was like, no, I don't want to be part of that. But then this event forced them into the war. And what happened was the Japanese bombers came into Pearl Harbor as a military target, and they bombed the United States Navy's boats. So it was supposed to be a military strike. However, it turned out to be more civilian damage than intended. And the leader of Japan also commented on it. He did not expect there to be as many civilian casualties. He wanted to just take out the boats, and that was it. But what happened was there were so many civilian casualties in Pearl Harbor that it was such a surprise attack because no one expected anyone to fight America because they weren't in the war. So these planes, they came in, and you wouldn't see them until they did. You would hear them, but no one really expected there to be anything wrong. So they came in, and they just started bombing these civilian areas just all over. They wanted to get the boats. They got everything. They started decimating civilian towns, civilian just houses. Everyone was hurt. And also, my friend here has a question. So yes.
Okay. My question is, did they have a specific reason for attacking Pearl Harbor like they did? Was there any particular reason why they wanted to take that area?
They did want to take that area, and the reason why was because Pearl Harbor was America's greatest place for, naval. So all their power in the Navy was pretty much in Pearl Harbor. That's where they sent out all their boats. That's where they made their boats.
For the Pacific Ocean, right?
Yeah. And unless you're talking about the Atlantic, which they had another port.
Oh, they had another port for that.
Yeah,
they didn't go all the way around South America.
They went all the way around South America. That's exactly how they got there. So, yeah. So Pearl Harbor, a lot of casualties. People survived, and they were traumatized by the event. It forced America into the war and put us on the chart for that World War II allies. And that's when the war started turning to, the Allies side instead of the Axis powers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my turn now. Okay, so basically, it is World War II. That's probably a given, though. Basically, Russia has been suffering defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat, and then they finally get one victory at Moscow. So what happens is Stalin, the leader of the Red Army, decides that, Hitler already attacked Moscow, but he's definitely going to want Moscow again. So he sends practically all of... Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. They send pretty much all of their defenses to Moscow, but they leave some troops at Stalingrad. And then Hitler, like 3 days before the attack, he announces that, I'm attacking Stalingrad. So what happens is Stalin sends all of his troops as quickly as he can to Stalingrad to try and stop the assault. And what happens is, what Stalin does is he sends all of the resources like cattle and grain and whatnot outside of the city, but he leaves the people inside the city as an attempt to spur hope into the soldiers, which doesn't work at all because over 40,000 people, I think, I just closed my notes, so doesn't matter. Around 40,000 people are in the city with over 20,000 troops defending the city, and as the Axis begins to bombard, it's basically just street conflict. Anytime that you walk out into the street, you can almost always hear gunfire, probably directed at you. Snipers are pitted on the rooftops, and at one point, the Axis is able to overtake the city. However, there's a point where some of Stalin's closest admirals decide to go out and collect troops from Romania and Hungary, and then they come in and encircle the Axis troops inside of Stalingrad and eventually starve them out and convince them to surrender. And this was important to the war because it basically signaled a turning point in the war for not only the Comintern, but also the Allies, and saying that, hey, these guys, they aren't good at defense. If we go on the offense, then we could beat them back quite easily. So,
So you're saying this battle was a war of attrition in a way because they had to starve them out in order to win?
Pretty much, yeah. Okay. So, that's pretty much all of that. Zach, Mr. Young.
Zach. My boy Zach, can you please stop listening? I mean, you don't really want to hear what's going to happen now.
Yeah, all right. So, this is your cutoff. 3, 2, 1. All right.
For your information, the piano was not invented in World War II.
Is it still recording?
Yeah.
My
Oh, check if it's still recording.
Okay, that was only 9 minutes.
Yeah,
Wait,
that was not invented in World War II.
That was pretty good. Okay. So, all right. So you haven't been talking this much. We've all discussed our things. So you got any stories about conflicts?
No.
Of
course.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know why.
He's as boring as they go. He's a white ginger, dude.
I'm a white ginger.
Okay.
He has no soul.
Calm yourself. Calm yourself.
Call me yourself. Call me yourself.
Calm yourself.
Okay, so I have a story. I'll start out.
Sorry.
Basically, I've already told you guys, but Keegan and probably everyone else doesn't know. So it was either ninth grade or this year. I was in wrestling, and what happened was we were taking wrestling photos. You know how sport photos are. They take like 20 photos for each thing. And so I'm standing there with the pose. I'm smiling and whatnot. And you're not supposed to smile, but I don't care. So all of this is going on, and I'm just like, you know what? This is kind of boring. I'm gonna make one joke face, just for the thing. And so I put on this, just like, if you guys have ever seen, like, just the Joker ever, it's kind of like that. Just
Which Joker are we talking about? Like the classic one, or like
the comics, just like
Yeah,
wide,
like the-
shit-eating grin. Yeah, just. So I put that on, and then I continue smiling for the rest of the photos. It was just one photo that I did that in. And then a week passes, and then I continue hearing from everyone in wrestling, dude, you messed up. Dude, you messed up. Dude, you freaking, you made Corey pissed. And Corey is, Corey Von Bar is the wrestling coach. So I'm like, okay, what happened? What's going on? And so then I walk into the wrestling room, like, I think it was Monday or something. And so I walk in, and they're handing out the plaques that they put the little photos in. And I look at mine, and on it is all of these people just perfectly smiling and perfectly just like looking fine. And then there's me with this shit-eating grin that just emanated like, oh yeah, this is not a good photo. And it was on everyone's plaque. So yeah, that was my bad photo story.
Oh man, I just take bad photos on purpose. Honestly, I show up to the school thing with my psycho grin. And you guys have been there. I don't know if you've been with me. Taylor's been with me.
I was with Taylor.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the point is like, they take photos here, and they only take like 2 or something. And the photo that you take, no matter what it is like what you keep. And I always put on a psycho grin every single time.
No, that's
My mom hates me because of that.
Okay.
Everyone looks at Keegan. Wait, you got something to share? You got something to say there?
Yeah, dude, put away your phone. Tell some stories, dude. Stories.
Stop texting your mom.
Story time. Come on.
Is it a fictional story, or does it have to be real?
It has to be real.
Oh, that's a shame. We know that your life is boring. Okay.
No, okay, no, I
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got one with me?
I remember one.
I got one with you.
Okay.
Okay,
Whoa.
okay.
Why is it that everyone remembers one with me? All
Let's-
right.
No, I
What
remember
am I
one
on?
with Keegan.
All right.
Keegan and Taylor.
Even what?
Tell it.
Oh, you! Guys, do you remember when we went laser tagging and we brought duct tape and we covered up all the ports in which you could get shot with duct tape so that they couldn't see us, and we put it on the gun, and then we ran in there and we just destroyed.
No.
I mean, we would have destroyed anyways. They were a bunch of like
Yeah, I
5-year-old.
was about to say, I wasn't there.
Wait.
They were like 5-year-old kids. We would have destroyed anyways.
Was that you guys? Okay, so did you take the duct tape off of your things afterwards, or like was it?
Well, we probably took it off. Maybe not
took
our
it off?
backs.
After we were finished
After
playing all
we
of them.
put, yeah.
Okay, because I remember one time I went to a laser tag place that was like a roller rink with my friend.
No.
No, it wasn't a roller rink. I think we
There
remember it was
was
an
a-
arcade.
This was a
Okay.
It was a
But yeah,
great
there was
man
one vest that
warehouse.
was completely taped over, and so I just picked that one, and no one noticed that it was taped over, and
Yeah.
so I just completely
It's
wrecked.
extremely overpowered because in that dark room they can't see you. The only thing they can see is neon lights and like your gun, right? You can't really cover your gun, but it's pretty easy to conceal. Just kind of
Yeah.
And this relates to World War II because multiple facts that you have not heard yet.
This is a World War II tactic
Yeah, they
to
have
cover
this-
up the neon stripes on your shirt.
They had to star Keegan out of the corner.
Calm down. I have a story to tell. Me, Taylor, and Tyler.
No, I'm telling
We're
this one.
all
I'm
in
gonna
the-
write it.
Okay, calm down.
Keegan brought it up.
I was in a car a few weeks ago with 2 of my friends.
Is this when you guys went to go see the show?
Yeah,
that
this
I
is when we
made?
went to go see the show.
Yeah.
We were going to see the play,
Okay.
Yeah, that place burnt down, but who cares? Okay, so
Burnt down. You're literally sitting 40 feet from it.
no, the actual one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Notre Dame. If anyone's
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, that place. Okay, so as we were leaving, it was pretty dark outside. We couldn't really see much besides the driver who was in the front seat with me, magically. And we started driving around. The person in the back seat is giving him directions, which were clearly wrong. And I decided to give him some updated directions. And
Updated. That sounds like
Updated.
more.
And somehow, by magical force, we drove around for 45 minutes on the bottom of the hill.
It should have taken us about 10.
And we couldn't figure out how to get to the top of the hill for the life of us. Okay.
Go up the hill. It's literally an incline. I think you'll know when you're going up, Keegan.
Oh, trust me. We were going up, but then all of a sudden we were going down again. Okay, so we could have gotten there in about 15 some minutes, 10 maybe minutes, if we just got on the freeway like an average normal American civilian.
Correct.
But this freaking retard decided
Whoa,
that
that was Taylor.
whoa.
That was Taylor.
Whoa, censorship.
this friendly
This friendly man named Taylor
non-American individual
Non-American individual. Yes.
decided
name of the podcast
that the
now.
freeway was too scary, as he stole his mom's car and didn't want it to get wrecked.
Stole your mom's car to drive to the theater. You could have just asked. Why did you steal the car?
He didn't want it to get wrecked. So it was about 45 minutes or so, and we dropped off Taylor first for some reason, because he was being like,
Taylor's the farthest. You live right by my house.
he was being a bigger butthole in the car.
Taylor drove us
He was
all
giving-
around camp.
He was giving backseat directions and didn't know where he was going.
Literally, Taylor is literally the calmest guy I ever know. So
No,
you
like,
guys,
Taylor-
I don't trust you guys at all.
No, like,
like
Taylor's
he's probably
straight
the
up-
only one in the car that's just like, take a right here, and you two are probably like, what are you talking about? Right, left, left.
I'll demonstrate what Taylor's doing, okay? He's sitting in the back like this. He's like this, you know, texting. He's like, oh, turn left.
The audience,
He's not
the
even-
audience can't see this.
He's just like
He's just
sitting in the back,
seat,
staring out a window,
Yeah,
not even caring.
Oh, turn left.
Yeah, turn left.
And then we turned left, and it
Turn
was
left
like,
3 miles ago.
that's very much what he said. He was like,
literally told us.
he was like,
That sounds like Taylor.
You were
That
supposed
sounds
to
like-
turn left like 4 streets ago.
How did you not figure that out? Jeez, guys, what are you, stupid? You should have known it was the right street.
Yeah, so for the factual evidence here, never get in a tank with anyone named Taylor
Or Tyler.
or Tyler. If they
Mostly
start with the
Tyler.
letter T,
I'm sorry, did you
Just-
say tank?
just
Just
shoot him off point.
don't get in a tank. You can get in a car, but I mean, like, if you get in a tank with those guys, they're gonna blow
We
you
are
up.
relating this to World War II.
World War II podcast, guys. All right, Tyler.
So I'm gonna
Did he steal your story?
I'm gonna add a little bit of background to this, okay? before we
Please
move
don't
on.
add.
By the way,
background.
his
Yes.
background is a bunch of unassociated black
Yeah.
civilians
Oh.
in his white basement.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I don't even know what that means, and I'm not gonna.
Oh no.
So here's what happened.
Is
I
this,
go right. I go and I pick up. Who did I pick up first? Keegan? Yeah, I did. So I went and I picked up Keegan, right?
You did not pick me up, you dunce. You drove me home from school.
I drove
You said
him-
he lives right next to you. He probably just like walk to your house.
So-
He drove me home from school.
So then we go to my house, and then my dad's like, he comes home and he's like, "Yo, why is this kid here? You know, because your 6 months isn't up." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And then later, my mom texts him, and he's like, "Yeah, it is." So my dad, you know, it's great how he doesn't know that my 6 months is already up. But anyway, I go,
okay, this is.
me and Keegan, me and Keegan, right?
Okay, so fuck.
We go up and we pick up Taylor, and then we go to the play.
Mhm.
Where we get to see this man,
Mhm.
this hunter man,
Yes,
and
that's me.
in some
That's
good old cardboard. Anyway,
It's been good over. for your information, it is yoga mat.
For your information, your information, he made the ropes. They were sexy ropes.
They were some sexy
There were some
ropes.
pretty sexy ropes at the play.
I've never met a rope that I didn't like until I met those ropes, and now no other ropes are the same. Really, every other rope is just.
I think I know the name of this episode now. It's Stalin and Sexy Ropes.
Oh heck yeah,
Ropes, bro.
Stalin and sexy ropes because everyone knows Stalin was into bondage. That's what the gulag guys do.
What is this out of
Welcome to my gulag. Welcome to the gulag. He got like his shirt off and got like his chest hair out. He's like, welcome to the gulag, ladies.
Oh my god. Oh,
Let me get my roll. Oh god.
Welcome to my private gulag. Please have a seat.
Oh man.
We have borscht, vodka, and ropes.
Vodka and roll. Oh boy.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, so
Don't continue.
Don't continue. This
we went Taylor.
Yeah.
But these kids, they're bad.
They don't know how to drive.
Just-
This
Never
bitch ran 2
happened.
stop signs. Okay,
More-
don't get up
Okay,
on Tyler.
okay.
He ran 2 stop signs.
No, actually, what happened
It was 3 stop signs. He ran 3 stop signs.
You traitor.
I ran one stop sign right by Keegan's house because a guy went blaring around the corner, and I'm like, stop.
So he just floored it through the.
So I floored it through the stop sign. And then no one
my goddamn house.
Why would you?
I already knew there was no one there. I
Don't
already
break the
checked.
law.
He didn't check. He didn't see
Okay,
the stop
breaking.
sign.
All right, a stop sign breaking. All right, can we? I've always wanted to say this. When you break the law, as in like speeding past a stop sign, it only counts if you slowed for it. Like if you slowed for it and there's no one within miles, I think it's okay to just go ahead and California roll right past.
That's definitely not what he did.
No,
Like if there's people at the intersection,
you shut up,
stop.
kid.
Just
Okay.
stop.
No, look,
No, shut up,
But the point is, I'm a horrible driver.
Shut up.
Guys, calm down.
Okay, I got a story about failing my driving test. I'll let you
Oh,
finish
please
yourself.
tell me about that,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I failed my first time as well.
Dude,
I
I
had to
You
retake
failed
it.
your driving test?
I did take it.
Easy.
No,
So
right
the
at
one
the
who's like, just do it. Just
guys, you gotta listen. Right at the last stop, I like floored it past this corner, and that was why I failed it. But if I hadn't had done that, I would have succeeded the first time.
Personal choices.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't know how parallel park. I still don't know how parallel park.
Dude,
I'm actually pretty good at that.
parallel park.
No,
I'm parallel
I'm
park.
trying to figure
My
out.
story involves
I'm parallel park
Oh,
in
did
my
you fail?
freaking driveway.
Guys.
I gotta get to this. Continue.
No. Where's your
Oh,
parallel
okay,
park?
I'll tell the
I wanna
story.
hear it.
Okay, so basically, it's a driving test, and I was just starting out with the parallel parking bit, and he was like, okay, turn into this neighborhood. I missed my stop, so I had to pull into a different one, go around, and come back in. It was no big deal. So then he's like, okay, pull up next to this car. And so the entire hour before my driving test, my dad had told me that, okay, you need to get closer to the car. You need to get closer to the car. You need to get closer to the car. And I was driving, and I'm like, okay, I need to get closer to the car. And so I pull it a little bit closer, and I instantly hear the driving instructor just scream, stop! And I look over, and the mirrors are like literally a hair apart. Like, it was so close. And I failed instantly, so.
You failed instantly because of that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I mean, like, it doesn't matter. If you're too far, don't worry about that, like, at all. Like, a lot of times when I park, I'm like, far and a little bit lopsided, but that doesn't matter as long as you're not like too close.
Mm-hmm.
Too close is like impossible to fix, but if you're too far, you got room to work with, right? But I mean, like, the problem with that is they have you drive in a different car, right? Or you can like drive in your own car, but still you're still learning, so you don't know like the dimensions of your car. So like, I still don't know the dimensions of the car that I drive because I like driving small cars, and every time I drive a big car, it's like I feel like a big buff guy. I gotta not touch the edges of anything. I feel like I need to strategically work my way through things.
Yeah, that's why I like biking, because the proportions are literally just you laying
It's
down.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
That's like exactly right, because you know that you are the proportion.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
so.
I got plenty more, but does anyone else want to say anything before I go spewing off on my rant?
I feel like should probably conclude the podcast. I thought it was not going on almost 25 minutes. this?
Yeah, this
Of
is
me.
25 minutes. I mean, we have time for like one more story, and then we should just plug our shit. So.
Oh, perfect. No, I
Wait, actually, no. Cult of Max. Tell us about the Cult of Max.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you about all my weird text message things that go down.
No,
My
not all
phone-
your weird text messages.
Oh, okay, not
Stop.
any
He's not
that's
gonna
bad
listen
for
to
you
this.
guys. I promise. I understand.
So why are you still doing it?
I'm doing it because, for the record. So, I gotta pull out the text
How do we set the
messages.
record
You
straight?
people,
Shut up.
you people are freaks of nature that send the weirdest things to me. And
Sexy ropes.
Tyler and I have a friend.
What did you?
Put that.
Why? We're filming a podcast.
Tyler and me have a friend who sends us the stupidest things at 3 a.m. or like 2 a.m. and I'll wake up and Harley, back on.
Keegan.
So I was sitting in my bed like watching some stupid video, and he sends me this message. He says, "The pool on the Titanic is still filled with water." And I couldn't sleep for the next 6 hours, wondering they never have to clean the pool. The pool will always be filled with water.
It's
You
the
can always
it's the best pool ever.
It's the best pool ever. It's the longest. Think about it.
In
it's
fact,
the
it
longest
increased in
lasting
volume,
pool ever.
It increased in volume. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so technically, because the Titanic sunk and it had a pool on it, it means that the entire ocean has become the Titanic's pool. So if you swim in the ocean, you are part of the Titanic's
They
pool.
could have kept that from sinking if they just killed everybody on it, because then nobody would have known to sink.
Oh man.
Just like a huge Holocaust. Wait, no, the Holocaust hadn't happened yet. Stalin wouldn't have been able to kill everyone.
I also get random texts by people. I've been getting a lot more recently. My phone number, I don't give it out to like anyone, so I don't know why I'm getting this, but I got a text.
We give your phone number out to everyone.
Yeah,
Are you serious? And I'm not actually.
For some random reason, I have Hunter's mom.
I have been given this photo by a random person of Moto in front of a mirror, in which I said thank you very much, and he said, do you remember sending this?
Yeah.
You remember this?
Hunter's mom.
You sent this to me under a different phone number.
No, I had what's the name send it to you.
Who sent it to me?
It's
It's not someone in the
Censor the
group
name.
chat.
No, it's not. It's someone in my class. I don't know.
Okay.
Censor the name.
I just like send this to one of my friends, and he's like, okay.
Are you serious? That's such
Yeah.
a waste. Dude, I'm already getting weird messages from people.
Hooray.
Hunter, I want you to know. I have your mom's phone number.
Good?
What was that reaction?
I mean, what do you want me to be like? No, you have my mother's phone number. Please don't send her a picture of Moto.
I'm gonna
Please.
send her a picture of you right now.
Alright, so.
Send her a picture of me giving a
Here's
good
another
dab.
thing that Jaden sent us at 1 in the morning. He sent, he waited. So this is the first thing. He says, this is at 12 a.m. Right?
AM in the morning.
I don't
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's like, why did the sperm cross the road, right? And I said, why? And then he waited until exactly 12 p.m. And then he said, because I put the wrong sock on.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot.
Okay, I feel like this is a good area to stop the podcast before we get any weirder.
Thank you all for
Of course,
listening.
Yeah, thank you all for listening to the Confession Shack podcast. Do you have any social media you'd like to plug?
No, I don't think so. I don't really have that much. So
Add me on Facebook. I'm in Normie.
AKA, I have one. I have a Twitch channel, Game Huntsman.
Okay.
Finally!
Hey, I told you if you stuck around long enough, Tyler, you figure it out.
Okay, so
Wait.
I have a Twitch
He
channel.
kept his Twitch channel from me for about 3 months.
Anyways,
Do you have the husband on
thank-
keyboard?
calm down.
you
Thank you for coming in and listening to the podcast. Goodbye, everyone, and I hope you have a lovely day.
bye bye.